Hello, I'm Kainton, the Tech Pro, and today I'm going to be talking about 6 critical challenges of the ICT department. This presentation involves everybody. If you are using any ICT equipment, this presentation is about you, it's about me. ICT has to do with your information, or the protection of your information, the consistency to make sure the information is safe and in the right hands. So in a few minutes I'm going to tell you these critical challenges, and I will think of what to do to try to handle or cope with these challenges. So let me put some things together and then we go ahead to discuss challenges of the ICT department. Alright, so this is very important. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about any particular organization. I'm not talking about any particular department. Get it very clear. If the names I'm going to use or if the situations I'm going to paint in this presentation looks like the one you know, it's not the one you know. I'm not talking about XYZ Limited. I'm not talking about any company. Kainton the Tech Pro is talking about global challenges of ICT departments worldwide. So let's go ahead to take the first one. Job roles not properly defined is one big problem of the ICT department. Why is a major problem is that if job roles are not properly defined, then different ICT personnel will be doing the same tasks, or the same ICT personnel will be doing different tasks. And that's a very major problem, because the outcome is going to be that the management will understand that the ICT is underperforming. The reporting will not show the real job being done by the ICT personnel. So if this is the case, it's a very big problem if job roles are not properly defined. What I'm saying is that in the ICT departments, ICT field, generally there are different job roles. We have the computer programmer, the network administrator, the server administrator, we have the desktop support, we have the user support, we have a wide array of roles in the ICT department. So if each personnel is not clearly identified with a particular role, that is going to be a very big problem, and it's going to lead to lost time. It's going to end up that ICT is underperforming, and then the ICT will not be regarded as important department, simply because there is no proper roles defined in the ICT department. Yes, that is very, very important. In fact, the biggest problem of the ICT department lies with the head of the ICT department. If the head of the ICT department is incompetent, it's a complete disaster. In fact, it destroys the ICT department, it destroys the company. The reason is because you carry the information of the company, the vital information resource of the company, and place in the hands of a quack. That means that the information is at risk of being compromised at any time. And why is such a major problem is that if the head of the ICT, whether it's the manager or the coordinator or whoever heads that particular ICT department, is incompetent, is going to drill down to personnel in that department. So management of companies should make sure that they employ competent ICT department, although I know that they have to do a trade-off between the cost of a competent ICT manager and competency of the ICT manager. This trade-off have to be made, but the bulk of the focus should be on the competence, because information resource of the company is vital. It can't be placed in the hand of a quack. If a quack or an incompetent manager heads the ICT department, there are going to be problems with the team, with the manager himself, and with the company, and with the information of the company. I have personally experienced a situation like that in a particular company where the ICT department is completely incompetent. He lacks the managerial skills to handle the ICT department. That led to so many problems. He's not going to have a grip on members of the team. He's going to be spending his time wasting the precious time doing nothing. The point is, a manager of the ICT department needs to have strong managerial skills, and he's not necessarily to be the best technically qualified in the department, but he has to exhibit strong managerial skills. For instance, if the ICT department has some skills, but he is trying to acquire more technical skills than managerial skills, he's going to waste precious time. If the ICT department head is trying to learn how to write queries, how to write commands on the DOS prompt, how to write commands to handle the internet devices, that is not his job. They are qualified technical personnel to handle that. Like an ICT department head, sometimes he needs to show managerial skills and interpersonal skills for him to be able to have a grip on the department. I want management teams of companies to make sure they have qualified ICT heads or manager to make sure that the vital information is protected. The information is going to be compromised, the security will be lost, lose consistency and integrity if you employ an incompetent manager. Alright, the next one is lack of skill development for the team members. Let me tell you something about my field. I am a software engineer. I started as a programmer in the late 90s. I learned Fortran, Basic and COBOL in 1998-99. But then think of how I'm going to use this, assuming I stick to these languages, these programming languages down till today. Along the line in 2003, I started learning Java. 2005, I was learning C++ and Visual Basic. 2011 till now, I made some effort to improve my skills in Java, jQuery, Link, Entity Framework, MVC. So the ICT field is dynamic. The skill sets continues to improve, continues to change. You need to continue to update yourself to be able to be up to speed with what happens in the ICT industry. So the team members of the ICT department needs constant training at regular intervals, perhaps once a year or even more frequently than that. If they are not trained, they are going to spend time doing nothing. Practically, they'll spend time doing nothing. ICT department is a service-oriented department. That it means that problems or service requests need to be solved in the shortest possible time to avoid downtime. So if a problem is going to take 30 minutes to resolve, if you have several unskilled or incompetent team members that are not trained for many years, they are going to spend 3 hours doing the job. And why this is a problem is that sometimes they might even cause more damage to ICT equipment than repair. Take for instance an ICT technician have skills in working on laptops, but no training on working on tablets and iPads. Along the line, a manager has a problem with his tablet and tells him this tablet is not coming up. Well, the technician comes, this technician that is not been trained, he only knows how to fix a laptop and desktop. He comes, he picks up the tablet. Wow, this is the problem of the tablet. He's going to pick up a screwdriver and a soldering iron, unscrew the back of the tablet, and then he's going to break more components on this tablet. After, he's going to fix it back and send back to you and tell you that, well, I think that to fix this will require us to buy the motherboard of this tablet, and to buy the motherboard will be as expensive as buying the new one. I suggest we scrap it and just buy a new tablet. Well, the manager is going to say, okay, how much does it cost? Let's buy a new one. What is the problem? The ICT personnel have complicated the matter. Instead of solving this problem, he caused more damage, and the poor employees of the company would just accept it that way, not knowing that the problem was coming from the ICT department. So one thing I want to tell companies is that make sure you have regular training for your ICT personnel at every time. Another problem is lack of team building activities. This is work of the ICT manager or the head of the ICT. It's also a problem because if there is no team building activities, the ICT personnel, the members of the department, will be working independent. Sometimes they will even be having the same person do several works, or the same work is being done by several persons, and this is going to be a whole lot of confusion in the department. So there should be team building activity, formal team building activity organized by the ICT management, and that boils down to the competency level of the ICT manager. Another problem is unnecessary meetings. Time is very precious. In ICT, we use time to solve problems, we use time to update our skills, we use time to read, we use time to do backup, to ensure the database is safe, and so on. So if time is spent having unnecessary meetings, it shows a big problem, and that is going to lead to issues. Like, I know a company that all of a sudden the ICT manager wakes up and says, every morning we'll have a meeting. By 8:20, everybody come to this hall, we'll have a meeting. And what happens in that meeting? He tells everybody one by one, what is your problem? What were you doing yesterday? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? What are your challenges? He'll ask everybody one by one, and check if a department is having, let's say, 20 ICT personnel, check how many minutes it's going to take to go around 20 ICT personnel asking these unnecessary questions here and there. Unnecessary meetings is one critical problem of the ICT department. Meetings can only be held at the right time and when necessary. Micromanagement of ICT staff is a very big problem. It's counterproductive and is to be avoided. It's a critical problem because if you micromanage members of the ICT team, they are going to get pissed off and they are going to sound off, and that becomes a disaster because they are not going to be motivated. You even eventually lose a grip on them. So if the ICT manager is competent enough and have the managerial skills needed, you'll have to understand that you don't have to micromanage members of your team. For instance, an ICT head came to ask a software developer, what are you doing? The software developer tells him, I'm writing query. Say, what the heck is query? Show me the query. He showed him the query and it's a whole lot of codes. And this ICT manager, this quack, he gets pissed off, and eventually he sees this software engineer as a threat to him. The problem is micromanaging members of your department. You need to give members of your department leverage to do the work. You need to give them some measure of trust to do the work, especially those that work on data, database administrators, software engineers, server administrators. They need some leverage to be able to do their job. Don't micromanage them, don't stand behind them looking at their screen telling them what to do, asking them what are you doing and what are you not doing. They are going to get pissed off, and that is going to be a problem. You are going to lose control of these guys. Alright, final thoughts. I remain Kainton, the Tech Pro, and I want you to think about what I've said. If you like what I've said, if they make sense to you, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you think what some of the things I said is not okay, leave a comment below and let me know. I'm sure I'm going to get back to you. Meanwhile, I would like to thank you very much for viewing.